Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to a new episode of the Mind and Muse Crafts podcast. I am your host, Caroline, and I usually come by this way a couple of times a month, like every 2 weeks maybe, to talk to you about my crafts, about the crafty side of my life, as I call it. I come to you from the western side of the island of Puerto Rico in the Caribbean, where I live with my husband. And I like to share with you, I like to think that we're talking about what I've been doing. Although I do recognize that I don't always give you the opportunity to participate in the conversation, which is probably not a good thing. So, thank you for stopping by this morning. Thank you if you are a returning viewer. Thank you for always wanting to come by and see what I've been up to. It's part of the enthusiasm that I feel for what I do is knowing that maybe I'll be able to come by here and some of you will actually be awaiting me, waiting for what I've been up to. And for some of you also that might be a moment of sharing, a moment that you just put aside during your day to like chill with a friend. So thank you for stopping by. If you are a new viewer, if by any chance it is the first time that YouTube has decided to present this podcast on your home screen as an option, as a recommendation, thank you so much for pressing that watch button and for deciding to spend this time to find out what this lady is talking about on this side of the world. So welcome to everybody. It doesn't matter if you're old or new. Thanks for stopping by, and hopefully this little chat will be a positive part of your life today. I know, definitely it is for me, because I got up this morning, I woke up with a terrible headache, and I just need something to distract me so that I can, I think that will help it go away. I will tell you one thing. In a short while, I will be attending Vogue Knitting Live virtual event of February. And in that event, I will be taking a class with Sandra Gutierrez, who is the host. Well, she also has a podcast. So yes, she's the host of Nomad Stitches, but she's also a designer, and her Instagram tag is Nomad Stitches. Her online site is nomadstitches.com, and if by any chance in the world you don't know anything about this designer, I encourage you to go by her site, to go into Ravelry and look up Nomad Stitches and see what she's been up to, because she is a wonderful knitwear designer, as she calls herself, because she's one of the people that believe that crochet and knitting are one of the same craft. It's all about knotting string together. So as a knitwear designer, she does crochet things in knit, and she also has been, as of late, doing a lot of things in crochet. Specifically, she dedicates herself to colorwork crochet. So you'll remember her if you have been around for a while, because she is a designer of my Taroko sweater. And, well, not my sweater, but the pattern that I tried to imitate. And so, yes, I am off to take a course with her this weekend on mosaic crochet, because it's been a form of color work that I've always wanted to try out, but you know how I'm always afraid of everything, how I always think that I can't do things and things look extremely difficult. Well, it's true. They are difficult until you try them. Once you try them and you learn how to do them, they're not difficult anymore. So if you still had a chance, she'll be there giving several courses this weekend. Today's Friday, February the 12th, and I'll go running to that class as soon as I hang up with you guys. And then she's got another course on Saturday. I do believe that one is full, but the course for Sunday might still have some space. The course for Sunday is about circular yoke sweaters. And yeah, that kind of getting it right, you know? So they used to have a live show in New York during, I don't know if it's I think November maybe? That's what comes to my mind. But anyway, I never got a chance to go there with Clarissa Beth, who is my daughter and the host of Crochet Cakes, if you don't know her, if you're here for the first time. And she is my eternal crafting partner. So I was there, never got a chance to go there with her, so now we're doing, this weekend, we're both going to take a course. So, something new to try out. And I think, you know, it's cool to say, I'm going to New York this weekend. Originally, if you don't know, I was born actually in New York. I was born and raised in New York, maybe until I was about 15. And when I was 15, my parents decided to return to the island and move back here. And I have been here. I've resided here on the island ever since then. I do go back to the States every once in a while. I have a lot of family there. And at the moment, I have my children there residing in different states in the U.S. So I frequently visit that part of the world. It's been a while since I've been to New York, though. And I never went to Vogue Knitting Live. So, well, on with it. In addition, this weekend in this part of the world, and I don't know the U.S., and I don't know who else celebrates what is called Valentine's Day or Saint Valentine's Day. On my part of the world here on the island of Puerto Rico, we call it Dia del Amor y de la Amistad, which is the day for showing love and friendship. And I actually think that they tagged on the friendship part to make it a larger commercial day, because if it was only for those people that were in love, romantically in love, well, you know, you don't get as much business as when you put on friendship. There, when you hang on the friendship, you get a lot of people. And so that's this weekend, February 14th to be exact, which will be Sunday. And in anticipation, well, I am today in my section for Walking the Talk wearing my red heart earrings made following a design of my own that a couple of years back I did put on my blog, and so you can go by there if you fancy. Do you fancy? It might be too big for some people. I don't remember what yarn. I believe it was a size 10 Aunt Lydia's cotton yarn, and so I probably was using like a 1.75 or a 1.5 crochet hook, I guess. I might actually try that later on, because I do have some wool and stainless steel thread that used to be produced by Lion Brand and is now out of circulation, or whatever you call it. It's no longer, it's discontinued. And that's just a thread, and I'm thinking that if I used a very tiny hook, probably a 0.75, I could probably make these very small. So if you're into that, if you like crocheting with thread and tiny hooks, you could go check it out. And they have, once they have been made, I starched them just to closer look. I have presented them on the podcast before, but I starched them. The lighting is really bad here today. And so they were, you know, they're hard, they're not very flimsy. I also put a bead in the middle, which you can definitely not see. So we won't. You can just go, you can go by my blog, mindandmusecrafts.com, and you can see them a close-up, hopefully a better close-up of them if you go by there. So that's my walk in the talk, because like I said, I am going to Vogue Knitting Live New York today, and I wanted to dress up. I wanted to dress the part. Do you notice my lips? Although I must say that for some reason they have like a blue tone. The camera is picking up a blue tone. I don't know. I guess because I put on one color and then I said, no, it has to be red. And I tried to put on my red, but I guess the colors combine. Fine. It's all fine. So Have a nice weekend, all of you. To those of you who celebrate, lots of love and kisses and hugs and signs of friendship to all of you out there. So thank you for being my virtual friend all through this year. And hopefully from now on. So, on with the crafty business. I believe that's what you come here for most of the time. I don't believe you come to hear me chatter because I'm not a very good conversationalist. I try very hard for you guys because you deserve it for taking your time and coming by here. But it's not something that I have to say comes natural to me. It's something that I have worked at over the years. You know, probably sometime soon. I think next month. I have what they call a podiversary on the virtual side of the word because, yeah, it's been probably 3 years since I've been vlogging in this way, ever since my dear Clarissa left me for another life. But anyway, that's a story for another time. For now, let's be happy that we can celebrate our friendship and that hopefully this friendship will continue for days to come, or weeks to come, or episodes to come. Thanks for being around, guys. You make my life, you feel the other part of my life that cannot be filled with the reality that surrounds me. So, a lot of blabbering, I am sorry. What I want to share with you, I am ashamed. I am ashamed to share the next make with you because it shouldn't be here. If you were here for last week, you know, for the last podcast, I mean, you know it shouldn't be here because I said that I would probably send it off to its recipient and that I would only have probably a picture to share with you or a video that I would make before I sent it off. But I didn't. I didn't go to the post office. I think mostly because I am trying to imagine how am I going to send it so it doesn't get ruined. It doesn't lose its form when they squish it. And plus, as I understand it, U.S. Postal Service is still having a rough time keeping up with all the COVID mail. And so things are still taking a long time to get there. And I kept on thinking, I'll send it out tomorrow. And then I'll like, oh, no, it probably won't get there. But truth of the matter, like Clarissa said, Mom, if you never send it out, it's never going to get here. Well, this next one was not for Clarissa. It was for my older daughter. And I know she's having a rough time at work and she's working hours upon hours and she's still working remotely from home, but I know that her days are long. So this probably would have cheered her up because you'll remember my venture into amigurumi. It wasn't the first time I've done amigurumi. I've done amigurumi before and I've shared it with you. But I've always shied away from it because of all the pieces that you need to stitch together and the faces, especially in this case, the faces, because I think amigurumi becomes what it's supposed to be when the pieces are sewn together adequately and the face is appropriately placed. And that's something that I don't feel that I have mastered in any of the amigurumis that I have made. But here he is, sitting right next to me. He is joining me today. I have a co-host. And he is Bernie Sanders, the doll. There he is. And at the beginning, when I purchased this, I have to say, I'm dying to go out and get a pet brush, those wiry pet brushes that I used to have one, but our dog passed away last October, so I no longer have it, because I really want to funk up his hair. Like I told you last week, I used a mat for felting that is just like, it looks like a rectangular brush with the, the spikes going upward. But it's plastic, so it's not wiry, it's not made out of metal, and so I don't think it did as good a job, though I was very happy with it because I'd never done this before. But I think I could still add some more hairs here at the top. It made me give him a haircut there. And anyway, if you don't know, this is from United States politics, and maybe you're not into those. And if you're not from the U.S., for example, or maybe you live in the U.S. but don't want to hear anything about politics, this is Bernie Sanders. He was a candidate for presidential elections this year. And, well, not for the presidential elections, but he went up to primaries, right? He wanted to be. He was a president wannabe. And he was caught in this pose at the presidential inauguration this year. Somebody, probably a reporter, right, a journalist, caught the photo of him sitting on I don't believe it was, my recollection is that it was one of those folding chairs, and that he was all wrapped up trying to keep warm because it appeared to be pretty cold outside. So immediately that went viral, and all of these Bernie mitts and Bernie dolls started appearing all over the internet. And as I told you the last time, my daughter asked me to make her one because that would make her the talk of the town. And so I did. I made her one. I didn't have the flush skin-colored peach, and at one point she told me, "Oh, Mom, just forget about it, don't buy it." So I wasn't sure if she was saying to forget about making it for her, but I had already started, or to just don't buy it and make it with whatever you have. So I did make it with, this is entirely acrylic except for the coat. That's cotton held double, the DK cotton held double. Everything else is acrylic. So this was, I think it was the color Sand from Stylecraft Acrylics. I think that was the color. And so, well, I told her to say that he came to Puerto Rico and got a tan. He was so cold over there that he came to Puerto Rico and got a tan. Because, yeah, it's not a perfect color. It's okay, but I would have preferred the peach. Actually, can you believe that I'm actually thinking about making another one? Getting that peach and making another one. Can you believe that? I can't believe myself. Maybe I won't, but the thought did come to me. So this is a pattern now that I have, what do you call that? Tooted my own horn for a long while here. Now, let me tell you that this is, keeping an eye on the clock there. This is a pattern by Tobey King. It is available on Etsy and also on Ravelry. And, yeah, it went viral, and she did sell a bunch. I mean, into the very high thousands. What do you think about when you say high thousands? Do you think about 10, 12, 20, higher, higher, higher? Tons. I mean, higher, higher. She sold a lot of patterns. She also made one and raffled it to collect money for Food on Wheels. And she collected $20,000. And then I believe some people have followed her. Because Food on Wheels is an organization in different states, I believe that other people from different states have followed her and have also auctioned off their Bernies. I'm not auctioning off mine. I don't know if my daughter might, but I am not going to. This is for my daughter. And so it's all Stylecraft. I think this one is not Stylecraft. This one is Red Heart. The black is Red Heart. But all the others are Stylecraft. So you can get the pattern. I think about a little bit over $5 maybe. Well worth the $5 because, I mean, amigurumi is hard to make, but it's got to be much harder to explain. And so she doesn't only explain it as a thing. She also goes beyond that, and she goes to her Instagram feed. And on her Instagram feed, she is, I got a message that in 30 minutes I have my class. But anyway, in her Instagram feed, like I think it's Instagram TV, not the Reels. She does small tutorials on the different parts of the doll. So she has a tutorial for the shoe, she's got a tutorial for the mitts, yep. She's got a tutorial for his head, she's got a tutorial for the hair. And as some of you asked, she's got a tutorial for the coat. And as some of you asked me last week if you thought you were a little expecting that I would have talked about the glasses and how I made them. And just as I was thinking, oh yeah, that was a big feat. I should have talked about it because that wasn't easy. Tobey put up on her Instagram feed a video of how to make them. And her expert hands looked a lot better than what my hands would have looked. So I just chickened out. And I said, I'll tell everybody to go there to Tobey's Instagram feed. Just look up Tobey King and it'll come out. And you can just Google that too, Tobey King Instagram. Or I believe that if you look through her patterns, or you just go to Ravelry and you look on the description of the pattern, the information might be there if you don't want to go through the trouble of looking of doing a search. But anyway, I'll take them off so you can get a closer look at them. The instructions in the pattern say to glue them on, but I was so happy with the eyebrows this time. And even the little puffiness around the eyeballs. Around, well, they're eyeballs here, but they're supposed to be just eyes. The puffiness is supposed to be the lids. But I was so pleased with that for the first time that I didn't want to glue them on. Anyway, I also wanted to take them off and to put them in a small box when I send them because these are fragile. These, let's see, these were made with, she recommends using, I don't believe I'm giving anything away by saying that, but so she recommends using 16 gauge wire, aluminum or whatever crafting wire that you want to use. But I didn't have. So I told you last week that for the arms, I chose the thinnest hanger that I could find. Wasn't thin enough. I had difficulty bending that into shape and making sure it didn't come out through the other end of the gloves because, you know, it's crochet. Crochet has holes. So for the legs and for these, but I did these first. I used what I had. And what I had was 20 gauge. Now, if you know anything about gauges in wire, the smaller the number, the thicker the yarn. And it's also going to be harder to mold. So she went with 16. I only had 20. I really thought I had 18. But the piece that I had left was so small that it wasn't going to work. So, but if you know anything about yarn, I was saying, wire, is that as you bend it, it gets tougher. It gets sturdier, stronger. You can feel it's more resistant to taking change. So it turned out to be not that bad. So you kind of like start along here. I did. I don't know how she did it. Well, I did see it, but I don't remember. So I kind of went along here. Then I went down. Well, I think this side. I went down and I went around and under. And then I formed this little peak here. And then I went around here and then back. Okay, so it's something like that. You can get a really good idea, better idea, if you watch Tobey. And if the only thing you have is YouTube, well, let me know and I'll try and include a little tutorial of how I did it, although I probably, honestly, I probably could never make them the same. I can tell you that mine were wider than hers. I found it difficult with the yarn to go down as tiny as, to make it thinner. Hers are, I guess his glasses like the smaller glasses, but I was happy with the way they turned out, so I just left it. I mean, Bernie's got clones, so they don't all need to be identical. I just try and stick them behind the ear. She does glue them. I mean, she does stick them behind the ear and then she glues them. So I kind of like try to get them into the hair. They're not, I mean, they don't fall off. or anything like that if you move them around. But yeah, they were thinner on the, so they were farther, closer to the eyes, or I don't know. The mask, somebody asked me about the mask also. And what I did for the mask was, I originally tried to make a smaller mask out of the regular blue masks that you find, but it didn't work for me because it didn't work. So what I did was I took a piece of cotton batting that I had. I looked all over the place for my felt. I know I've got felt, but I couldn't find it, so I just took the cotton batting, and then I cut the shape out of it, more or less looking at the shape that she gives you in the pattern. Though it didn't come out totally, because it's supposed to come down here on the chin, and I didn't do that, but it's okay. And then I put that onto my felting mat, and I took some blue felt, and I felted, I needle felted it, the fiber into the batting, and was surprised. It was just a trial. I wanted to see what would happen, and so it was all slightly bigger than what I wanted. So then I, cut it out around the edges to make it look cleaner, and it actually worked. It's got elastic. It's got elastic here that since I had the two. What do you call it? The two levels. The word is escaping me as usual. But it had the two levels of material. I mean, it had first the batting, and then it had, which you might not think so by looking at it, but you actually need to kind of like layer up. I guess that's the word I was looking for before. 2 layers of fabric, and it's got this layer of felting is thick enough so that I could actually sew the ends of my elastic to the batting, the cotton batting, and the stitches didn't come through. Of course, if they had come through, there wasn't a big issue because I would just put it back onto the felting mat and cover it up with more fiber. It would have worked okay too. So sorry I forgot to talk about those things last week, but fine, because now this week I got to talk about them. So I don't know for how much longer Bernie is going to stay with me because I am just so terrible at getting my butt up and going to the post office. Well, because I want to send it in a package, a bigger package, and I want to put other things into it so that he will have some protection from all the stuff, the boxes they're going to throw on top of him. And so, yeah. Yeah, I think that's about all I was going to say. Looking at the time, I'm pretty sure that I am going to need to take a break from here, go take my class in a while, and then come back and finish this off later, which is kind of probably a good thing because then I'll actually be able to talk to you a little bit about that course and maybe motivate you to take the course that's being given on Sunday. As of yesterday, there was still space available. Okay, so next on the list of, I just totally went on to my end of the line objects here. So I'll leave Bernie here. He appears to be a fan of knitted items, so I'll leave him there. And I'll talk about this. I'll talk about the other elephant in the room. Here you go. I don't remember if I talked about this last week or the last podcast. I think I mentioned that I wanted to work on it, but I hadn't shown it in a while. If ever, I really cannot remember if I had ever shown this. I really can't remember. You'll tell me. But this is the Diamonds Are Forever shawl from an issue of Crochet Now. Actually, the issue that I've told you once and again, over and over again, that I came out in. They did a little feature on podcasts, and they asked me for some information and talked about my podcast there ever so nicely. And so I have it here. I'll show it to you. I've shown it to you before. I know at least that I've shown it to you before. And so there. I was just so impressed by the ingenuity of the pattern, the cleverness of the way it's put together, and at the moment, it just made me very happy. And, well, right now, with all the lack of joy, maybe not happiness, but joy, reasons to be joyful. Well, not the reasons, but the reasons are there, but, you know, with all the grimness of the times that we're living, it just made me very happy to look at. I just love that picture also. So I'm going to try to put on a white shirt and to imitate that exact picture, that exact photo. You think I'll get it? There's a slight difference in age, but it might not look exactly, but it will. So this is issue, I've said it before, and for some reason 54 comes to mind. Yep, 54 of the Crochet Now. And you'll remember, but there might be somebody who's new around here and who doesn't know, but you'll remember the issue. I just love, you know what, some of these magazines, I probably love the paid for advertisements as much as I love the designs. I don't know. But anyway, did I ever show you that? I mean, top class amigurumi. This is way out of this galaxy. She doesn't sell patterns. She actually sells dolls, and it's like, catch me if you can. She actually auctions them off. And so when she makes one, she auctions them off, and I don't know. I signed up to receive her notifications, but I don't receive them. So I don't know. Either Instagram, you know how Instagram is. Well, it's probably best that I don't show you because you're all tired of seeing my face in this thing. And I'm not the only face, but I guess you can look it up yourself because I can't find it fast enough to show it to you. I have shown it to you before. Anyway, I like this magazine because I'm in it and because I really did like that. Oh, look. You know, maybe after my mosaic crochet class, I'll be able to make something like that. Yes, 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 I know your all attention went to the llama or the alpaca because that's beautiful too. Beautiful. Anyway, it's all done in acrylic. She used 50% acrylic, 50% nylon brand of yarn, but you know how I'm all into using my stash. So I can now see that, yeah, they kind of look the same. It's all mostly style craft. These are all style craft. I don't have the bands anymore because they had all been used for something, and I was using here mostly leftovers. But I know there's a light rose and a grape in there. This one, the darkest color here, is from Cascade Yarns. It's Cherub DK that I've had in my stash for ages. 55% nylon, 45% acrylic. And so it's not exactly her blend, but this was way thinner than the Stylecraft Special DK. So yeah, I kind of messed up there. You can see, you know how this is not as big a diamond as the one next to it. Well, that's because that yarn is very thin. I probably should have used it double, and I did have enough yarn to use it double, but you know me, I didn't want to break it back, so I didn't. I just left it like that. It's okay. And so it's got bands. It's crocheted vertically. Each one of these blocks, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then at the end, you add the fringe. She adds, first of all, before the fringe, she adds these 3 lines of like pop-out colors that have nothing to do with the colors that are in the crochet, and then she adds the fringe using all the colors except the ones that are in these lines, but all the colors from the color blocks are in there. And so yeah, I have to say, it's been steam blocked. I steam blocked it so it would relax a bit. It's very soft, and I would have to say that, oh, I really like it a lot. I think it's fab. It's way about 6 feet long or more. And so it might not be like I said before, it is not a scarf for the coldest months of the year, but it would make a very nice scarf, I believe, like for autumn, when it starts getting chilly, and now for like maybe March, where it's still, or February, where it's, depending on where you're living, right? Where it's still, you know, cold enough to be wrapped up in something. It's very cool here today. I actually have on crochet socks. I actually have on crochet socks that were my Valentine's Day socks a while back because my feet were very cold. I do have on shorts, but I have on socks. So, that was from last year, that make. I started it last year, I can't remember when, and I carried it over to this year, a long time that I left it without even touching, and I actually thought that I wasn't going to finish it for a while there, but I did, and I am thinking about gifting it as a birthday present for my daughter-in-law who had a birthday, and she kind of likes those purples, and maybe my daughter would like it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to ask. Make sure it goes to somebody worthy because I really like it. It's very soft. Okay, next on the line of finished objects then are these socks that I think I had 1.5 done the last time, or 1 and a part of another one. Now they are finished. Now they're finished. These were cuffed down, and I shared with you that these were the first cuffed down socks that I've made in crochet or in knit. I always make mine toe up, but I really do like it a lot. The texture is just so, I mean, it's not holey at all. You see those are shells, but they're not holey at all. Because this spike here, that is supposed to make it look like a scale that's tipping, this spike just does the magic and joins it. So if you've never done color work, this is a good place to start out. Well, yeah, if you like crochet socks, it's a good place to start out because it is in essence color work because you are working with colors. It's just that it's not a tapestry crochet. You don't have to carry your yarn, and you drop it always at the end, and so you pick up the next color on the next way around, on your next row, and so it's very easy. You know, the yarn management is pretty simple. But yes, I do so love these socks. You really can't imagine how happy I was to find how these colors worked so well together. This, I believe this is a Serenity sock. I don't know if it's Vanity Yarns. I don't remember. One ball that I got on sale for $1 or $2 once that I went with Clarissa Beth, but there was only one left, 50 grams. So I used it up almost entirely here. Or no, actually, I think I have enough to make. Actually, I was thinking about making this sock again. There's one of them that I don't have enough of. I have lots of the opal. This is an opal color. And this is a Drops Fable. That, though I don't have a lot of the Drops Fable, this ball, I had 2 balls of that, so there's not a lot left that I could make another one. And then the opal, I have like for 3 socks, 3 more socks, depending whether they're crochet or knit. And so the Serenity, I do have enough left for another sock. And this is what's left from the Fable, from the Drops Fable. But since I have another one, I could, or I also have this in white, so I actually probably could combine the white with another color. Not this. Well, this is nylon acrylic. I don't know. Can you make, probably people have tried. I guess it's the factor is the stretch, and not so much the stretch, but the springiness, so that it would drop back into place. But I don't know, maybe if you pair it with wool, maybe the wool will be springy enough to bring everything back. I do know that, if I have anything left, well, the reason why I used the Fable was because I do believe that why do words escape me? The cuff on this thing, since you do cuff, and then you do the leg and the sole, I think you use up more of that yarn than any of the others. So, very happy to have completed those because they're pretty, and we all need pretty in our life. I don't know when I'll wear them. Maybe I'll gift them. Maybe I'll just hang them on the wall and stare at them. Well, ladies and gents, I do need to leave our little conversation hanging here because of the fact that I need to go to my class. But the last thing I almost forgot that I worked on this week was this ring. It is a crochet ring where you'll remember that I tried to make some of these a while back. Oh, I say try, but I actually made them. And I actually was able to write out a pattern. If you'd like to make a red flower ring for St. Valentine's Day, you could go to my blog and under, that one might be on a blog post, I think, for Valentine's Day. And there's an explanation of how to make the band and a flower. The bezel, I have not explained, though I was thinking about doing it. I was thinking because you just have to have a stone of more or less a certain shape. So let me see if this will come out. Well, it won't come out. Well, it is made to be tight around my stone because I didn't want my stone falling out. But in the essence of making it tight, the last time I had to glue it, and I didn't want to glue it because that ruins the stone. But then what am I going to use the stone for? Anyway, well, you know, maybe if the ring, the crochet falls apart or something. But anyway, I wasn't sure if the bezel was covering up the stone too much. And so I wanted to redo it. I also wasn't sure about the color. I just did it up in this because it's the only color that I had. This is a 100% nylon, size 2, I believe. It's very thin. And I am using here a 1.75 crochet hook. I am a fan of using small crochet hooks. I just like what it makes. What I don't like is that it takes a very long time, but I do like using them. So the ring turned out to be a little bit bigger, kind of tricky in crochet, especially with nylon, because nylon is going to stretch a lot more, I believe, I feel. So I made it a little bit too big. It's okay, but I like my rings tight. So I don't know. I might redo it. That's what I was thinking. I was able to purchase from a stash somebody's stash on Ravelry a yarn in black. And so I was thinking about redoing this. Okay, so I'm going to go off and I'm going to take my class. And well, I use a size 8 ring, just in case. I use a size 8 ring in case you're wondering. So, yeah. I am thinking about, like I said, writing up the instructions for the bezel. It's not really hard. Really start here with 4 or 5 stitches and then go across increasing for a while here in the middle for 2 or 3 rows. Keep the same amount of stitches, then go back to whatever amount of stitches you started with and pick up stitches all the way around. And I did 1 back loop only, and then I think I did after the back loop only to kind of like make it curve up. I kind of like that. And then I did 2 more rows. On the 2nd and 3rd row, I decreased. So yeah, I'm thinking about, I did not write those instructions down. So if I can redo this, then I'm thinking about doing it again and writing it up because it's pretty enough. I mean, it's a good thing to do. I've got a large collection of large stones from when I was making jewelry that I have never used. And so, yeah, I think it's a pretty nice thing. It's metal. If you know somebody who's allergic to metal, it makes a quick gift. And, metal goes bad, especially nowadays because we're not buying good metal because it's so expensive. But metal could go bad on us, and this probably won't. And if something happens to it, you just remake it. It's not expensive to make. I don't think there's more than 50 cents of yarn in this. So now I really have to go because I'm going to take my class and I'm very excited. And I will leave you for a while, but I promise to come back and finish this up and share a little bit of the class that I took on mosaic crochet. Bye for now. Okay, I'm back. I had my class, and it is now about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've had some lunch, and I decided to come and finish this up. It's raining, so the light in this room has totally changed. It might not be a bad thing, but it's different. There's no way I could put the camera exactly where it was when I started this morning. But at any rate, I had my class. I said again. And I just wanted to, so that you can see what we were up to. Oh, it goes this way. It's not finished, but she had us work on a small sample. I did not complete mine. I couldn't keep up. I am known to miscount my stitches, and so although there are only 15 stitches here, you do need to, well, I will say that the charts are not as clear as crochet charts because they don't go stitch by stitch, and they use gray squares or black, depending on the book that you're looking at, and white squares to mean different things depending on whether it is worked in the flat or you're doing mosaic crochet in the round, where you have kind of like, you create like a double fabric because you're carrying your yarn. No, you're not carrying your yarn, but your longer stitches are going over some stitches 2 rows below, so that creates like a double fabric. Well, anyway, the charts, I did not find them. I kept getting confused. For example, this chart here, the first line was in gray, and I chose the whiter, this white here, so I kept on getting confused what color I'm on because the yarns I chose did not match the intensity of the square of the chart. So if you've ever done or looked at mosaic crochet, it's beautiful. I love it. And it's not that it's difficult. I just found, you know, the pressure of hurrying along with a group and trying to get done everybody at the same pace so that you don't keep them behind, and you know, things like that. That just get me, I'll probably do better when I'm on my own. But it's definitely beautiful. What happens, a lot of these techniques were created initially while using wool. And so most of them look gorgeous in wool, but if you try to do them with some other yarn, they don't look as nice. And so, yeah. But, I mean, you know, I have to be real. I'm not going to use wool here because I can't most of the time. Today it's a really chilly day, and I've got wool socks on. I've had them on all day, but you know, I'm probably as far as I could go. Anyway, I learned a new technique. Well, I didn't actually learn it, but I was introduced to a new technique, and so I am sure that I could probably now take one of her, listen to me saying that I could now take one of her mosaic crochet patterns and do them. Well, basically she does have one on her blog that is free, that is like a coaster and a mug rug. I could do that. So it is now going to start to rain, and here when it rains hard enough so that it might not let you hear these last things that I'm going to be saying to you, so I won't keep it long. I will say that I did have a small reading that I wanted to share with you from my book, because I thought it was very appropriate when I read it this morning, I was like, this was just like cut for, made perfectly for today. So I'm going to read it anyway. Remember, it's from the book that I have been gifted for Christmas and am reading little by little, The Simple Abundance, A Day of Comfort and Joy. It is not the only book written by this author. She does have other books, but it's the only one I've read. So, February the 12th is today. Once Upon a Time You Trusted Yourself is the title of this reading. Today, try to find a photograph of yourself when you were about 10. Make sure you're smiling. Put it in a pretty frame and place it on the dressing table, desk, or in your illustrated discovery journal and look at it every day. Send love to that young girl. Try to travel back in time and imagination. See yourself at 10. At home, at school, or at play. Where did you live? Can you see your home or your apartment and the street? Walk through the rooms in your childhood home. What did your bedroom look like? Who were your friends? Did you have a best pal? Who was she or he? How did you play? What was your favorite color in the Crayola pack? Did you play a musical instrument? Who was your favorite doll? Can you recall the scent of Play-Doh? What were your favorite foods? What subject did you like best in 5th grade? Can you remember? Try to recall yourself at 10 in your daily dialogue pages. I remind myself that once upon a time, I trusted my instincts. You did too. Once upon a time, there weren't second and third guesses. It can be that way again. Try to contact the girl or boy you once were. That person is all grown up now. That person is your authentic self and is waiting to remind you how beautiful, accomplished, and extraordinary you really are. So yes, it's healthy, isn't it? Take a step back every once in a while and look at ourselves in another time and to understand how far we've come, how far we should have come or would have liked to come, where we are today and versus where we thought we would be back then, and where we would like to be right now. And just trust ourselves. Trust that you have learned a lot over the years and that the person who you are today is your authentic, complete self. Trust yourself. Trust your instincts. And stop second guessing yourself, like we all do, right? So there's a message for us to move forward again. And remember to keep crafting. Let's keep in touch. And so I will see you soon. Hopefully in 2 weeks' time. Until we meet again, keep yourself safe, keep yourself happy, and keep crafting. Bye for now.